Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bella Gamer, and we're back with a new series, which is the essentially why this archetype is awesome. It's the class kind of parallel style videos. And honestly, the more I've been thinking about it, the more excited I am for this series because there's a lot of archetypes out there that I believe a lot of people just kind of overlook. And again, one of the things that we do at our tables is we use the free archetype dedication, rule, and I make it so that players cannot pick multi-class archetype dedications for this free archetype. I feel like it makes the game more interesting that way, gives the characters more flavor, and overall it's just done really, really well. It lets the players really explore everything this game has to offer. And a lot of archetypes, I think, fall into a category of I wouldn't take it unless it was given to me for free, or, something along those lines, because they might not be the most, appropriate for combat situations. Some of them are a little inoptimal, but they all offer a lot of flavor. And so we're just going to be going through all the archetypes. There's so many. But the good thing is that these videos are going to be a lot shorter than the class videos. So, it's going to be a lot. And again, I'm not in this for the number crunching. I'm not in this for necessarily optimal builds. I just think a lot of the archetypes are really cool and really awesome. And I just want to share that with you because I think all of them have something to offer to a variety of character styles that you can use. And today we're starting off with, honestly, probably one of the biggest sleepers as far as archetype dedications are concerned, and that's going to be the Acrobat dedication. Now, the Acrobat dedication is actually kind of nuts. It's a dedication, like the original archetype feat, the archetype dedication itself is worth it just for itself. Because when you get the archetype dedication, you get acrobatics pretty much leveled up for free for your character. When you hit level 7, you'll become a master. Well, when you get the archetype dedication initially, you'll become an expert. Then you become a master when you hit level 7, and legendary when you hit level 15. That's essentially 3 skill increases for 1 feat. And it doesn't even stop. You also, when you use the tumble through action, which if you're unfamiliar with tumble through, which I'm sure a lot of characters or players are not, tumble through is when you attempt to move through an enemy space. It does trigger attacks of opportunity. It's not, most enemies don't have attack of opportunity, so you can use it a lot of the time without issue. It's not something that really most players think about, and honestly, with a single stride action, you can run around the enemy. But Tumble Through does offer a lot of things, and especially if you're playing a swashbuckler, Tumble Through can activate your panache. Regardless, the Acrobat dedication allows you to, when you critically succeed a Tumble Through action, you don't treat the enemy's space as difficult terrain, which is pretty good. It can allow you to get by an enemy with a lot of efficiency, and there could be a lot of niche situations where that could be very helpful. Chase scenes, or you're trying to get to an ally, or maybe the enemies are surrounding, or attempting to surround someone and you want to help them. So I think it's overall really good. Just straight up, the dedication itself is definitely worth it, but there's some other parts of this that are just really good as well. Contortionist is a very interesting part of the Acrobat dedication. It gives you quick squeeze, which, you get a feat to get a skill feat. It's not necessarily the most optimal, but it does offer some other things as well. Quick squeeze is a very strange feat, in my opinion, mostly because the squeeze action typically is, well, first of all, it's an exploration activity. And exploration activities in Pathfinder are done when your characters are walking around exploring a dungeon. We have an actual exploration mode in our gameplay where we're going through the dungeon and using exploration activities, and it works for us. But rules is written, it's not a very great rule. The squeeze action in general just never comes up. The GM might have you roll for it, and that's fine. But the whole way that it treats movement and everything just doesn't really work. How we use the squeeze action is, every space your character moves where they have to squeeze is difficult, and then we make it where quick squeeze it's not difficult terrain for you anymore, pretty much. And then at the max level, you don't even need to like make a roll for it or whatever. Quick squeeze is just one of those weird rules. But the fact that this feat gives you it automatically is pretty cool. And not only that, but one of the cool things about it is when you escape using, your acrobatics, of course, which is going to be better because you're using the acrobat dedication, the enemy you escape from is flat-footed until the next attack you make against it until the end of the turn. It's a really good feature, and because your acrobatics is going to be very high, you're going to have a really good chance of getting out of the grasp of a lot of creatures that, would grab you, and then they're flat-footed to you. So not only do you get an advantage of just, it's easier for you to squeeze out of enemies' grasps, but you can also get a benefit. And considering the fact that the escape action actually is considered an attack action, this actually helps because obviously you'll get your map, your multi-attack penalty when you make an attack after escaping. So this will help mitigate some of that penalty. If you're using an agile weapon, it'll make it so that your next attack is only at a -2 rate. No, -3. No, yeah, -2. And if you don't have an agile weapon, it will make it so that your next attack is at -3 rather than -5, which is really good, honestly. And Contortionist just adds to what Acrobat really offers. Dodge Away is a really good feat. Dodge Away is actually better than like some class feats because it's a reaction that gives you a +1 circumstance bonus to your AC. I think Rogue and Swashbuckler get a similar type of feat in their list where they can dodge and get a bonus to their AC to the attack. This one is even better because not only do you get that +1 circumstance bonus to your AC, but you can take a 5-foot step as a part of the action. And on top of that, and I don't think there's any other prerequisite. Oh, yeah, the attack has to miss you. If it misses you, you can take a step as a part of the reaction. And then if you're a master in acrobatics, so starting at level 7, you can take a 10-foot step as well. This can be very frustrating for the enemies. If they have to run up to you, for instance, and attack you, that step in general will make it so that they have to pursue you if they want to hit you again, meaning they're only going to get that one attack on you. And if it's 10 feet away from the enemy, that means that even if they have a reach weapon, they're going to have to try to get to you if they, of course, ran up in your face and used a reach weapon. And if they didn't and they attacked you at their reach with a reach weapon, well, they're going to have to move regardless, whether it's 5 or 10 feet. So it's a really good feat overall. And it's just a more optimal feat. And this is the perfect kind of feat that you pick up when you're taking the free archetype dedication, because this is a very combat effective feat and it works really well. Graceful Leaper, it's pretty good. Honestly, the biggest thing about it is it's just optimized. If you're playing a very dex-based character, athletics checks can be frustrating because you don't have a very high strength typically, or your strength is kind of like 2 steps below your dex, for instance. This just allows you to use your acrobatics rather than your athletics for your long jump and high jump. This can be actually very good in a lot of situations. I think long jump and high jump aren't really looked at when it comes to combat situations, but there's a lot of combat situations actually where you can use both of these rather effectively. And being able to use your acrobatics, which again you're leveling up for free because you took acrobat dedication, just is good. It's very optimal. It makes your build more efficient. I think it's definitely worth the feat. Tumbling Strike is nuts. It's a really, really good feat if you're a character that tumbles a lot. One of the biggest weaknesses of tumble through is it provokes attack of opportunity. It's very unfortunate, but Tumbling Strike not only allows you as a single action, super efficient, by the way, you can tumble through and it doesn't provoke attack of opportunities. And if you succeed on the check, you can strike the enemy. Now, if you critically succeed, the enemy actually becomes flat-footed to you, and even if you fail, you can still make the strike. It's an efficient feat. You can strike no matter what, unless you crit fail the check, which, you know, is unfortunate when it does happen, but regardless. But no matter what, this doesn't provoke attack of opportunity, or reactions at all, I should say, despite being a move action. And you can even get the enemy flat-footed, and you have a build that's completely dedicated to boosting your acrobatics, making this very likely to, against reflex-based enemies, to get that flat-footed check, and it's all one action. It's all one action. It's really crazy. It's a really good feature. This is very efficient. I think the only thing that really makes it not great is it's a flourish, but unless you have other flourishes in your kit, it's not really a big deal. This would be really good on a ranger, because a ranger doesn't offer a lot of flourishes. Well, no, that's not true. Some of their like major attack, I don't know. This would be good. Maybe a barbarian would do really well with this. Yeah, I think a barbarian would do really well with this, because I don't think barbarian has that many flourishes in their like overall kit. Regardless, it's a really good feat. You can strike and tumble as a single action. That by itself makes us worthy to pick up 4 swashbucklers. That's just super efficient. It's a really good feat, trust me. Tumbling Opportunist could be devastating. Now, there's a little bit of a caveat to this one, and it's not quite as good as it looks on paper. First of all, it's a free action. Amazing. As long as you hit the trigger, you can do this without using up your action economy. It's great. As long as you successfully tumble through or use Tumbling Strike as a free action, you can attempt to trip the enemy. It's a really good feature with a caveat. So, it has the attack trait, but in exchange for that, you can trip using your acrobatics. Now, tripping in general has the attack trait, and the fact that you get to trip an enemy as a free action is nuts. So when you tumble through the enemy, you can use that free action to attempt to trip them using your acrobatics. An enemy that's on the ground, by the way, is in a terrible position, especially if you have attack of opportunity or any other type of reaction based on enemy movement. It's bad news. The only unfortunate part is that then if you strike after it, you're applying map. It's as simple as that. You trip the enemy and then you attack them at a -5, -4, depending on your type of weapon. It's still really, really good. But I think it's something that some players might forget when they're using this particular free action. It's still very efficient. I absolutely love it. And because it would apply after the action is taken, you would, if you're using Tumbling Strike, for instance, you move through the enemy square, attack, then attempt to trip them, but this trip will have map applied to it. So it'll be an acrobatics check -5. It's a really good feat. It's just got some functionality that I think kind of will escape your average player, and this is something just to remember when you're using it. But it's a really good feature. Being able to trip, it's essentially getting a free attack action. You trip an enemy as a free action. It's really, really good. And this is only a level 10 feat. In most games, this feat will not only come up, but will be very helpful as long as you're using the tumble through action. And with Tumbling Strike, you have no reason not to use it. Tumbling Strike is good because you can use it as a strike, essentially, and if you critically succeed the acrobatics check, the enemy is flat-footed to the check, and then you get to trip them, and then they go and then they hit the ground, and they have to get up, wasting an action and possibly provoking reactions from your party. It's just, the acrobat dedication is really good, and even though it doesn't really seem as a very, like, combat effective dedication right out the gate, it's very, very efficient. And I feel like when we're talking about acrobatic dedication, we got to talk about some of the skill feats from acrobatics that benefit purely from the acrobat dedication. First on the list is the first one, honestly, on the list of acrobatic feats, which is acrobatic performer. It allows you to use your acrobatics in place of a performance. That's just pure efficiency. If you're picking up a skill increase and you have acrobat, there's no reason not to pick this up, because that just gives you another kind of action, that you're going to be essentially legendary at, because you took acrobat dedication. It's just a really good one. And then there's catfall. Catfall is amazing. It's a really, really good feat. And let me pull up the numbers here, because I can never remember exactly what the numbers are. So first of all, you have to be trained in it, which you would anyway, because you're an acrobat, and you'll actually be an expert, which will apply here in a second. But just taking catfall in general, it's a really, really good skill feat. You treat any fall as 10 feet shorter. It's really good. But when you have acrobat dedication, you actually treat all your falls as 25 feet shorter, because you're going to be an expert in acrobatics just starting out, so as early as level 2. That's pretty good, and that can negate most falls in pretty much any standard situation that your character might fall. If you're jumping off a building, for instance, as long as it's not higher than 3 stories, you're pretty okay when you have catfall. It's really, really good. When you become mastered, so at level 7, you can treat a fall as 50 feet shorter. This can make most dungeon traps where you fall, as long as it's not into an empty or a bottomless pit or a spike trap. This can make most of those situations just not hurt your character, really. It's a really good feat. And not only that, but they're really, really solid for a large number of situations. 50 feet, that's a 4-story building you can essentially jump off of easy. That's perfect for escapes. That's perfect for a cat burglar like aesthetic for a character. There's all kinds of things. But then when you hit level 15 and you automatically become legendary, you don't take fall damage and you always land on your feet. You don't even need to make an acrobatics check when you fall. You just automatically land on your feet. It's really good. Catfall in itself is such a good feat that you should always take it. But when matched with acrobat dedication, you got yourself a really good combo. You got yourself a really solid, character setup that you are great in combat, and you're great in a lot of exploration activities, especially those that involve falling down or, even keeping the attention of enemies, because, acrobatic performance. And some of the other acrobat feats are really good as well, but these are the two that strictly benefit purely from your acrobat dedication, because they also either benefit from the increase or they level up with it. They're just really, really good. And yeah, that's gonna be it, man. That video was a little bit longer. I'll have to find a way to cut down on these videos a little bit. It's still gonna be shorter than a lot of my other videos, so that's good. It's just I don't know, there's a lot of really good archetypes, and hopefully with these kind of shorter videos, there'll be less that I'll have to edit, so I can get these videos out to you guys more often. I'm going to be going alphabetically down the list. It makes it a lot easier for me to keep track of the dedications that I've done. And of course, more dedications are coming out with each adventure module and everything like that. This is going to be a series that I'm going to do regularly, but if I have another video that needs to come out in a week, or there's something else I want to do, this series is going to be the one that's going to be put on hold to do those other ones, because literally, even if I do this for a year straight, there's still going to be more than I could do, even if I'm doing them 2-3 times a week. There's a lot of dedications, but I'm pretty excited about getting into it, and I hope you all enjoy. This is really good, and hopefully you get some very interesting ideas for your characters as well, listening to these archetype dedications. And convince your DM. The free archetype bonus is really good and should be used in pretty much every game, in my opinion. But with that, ciao for now. Oh, that's an old one. That's an old one from the series. You've watched my videos from 5 years ago. Good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.